The conditions in 2015 were horrible. We lost a lot of people. The level, I think, was 200,000 people, 600,000 people.
600,000 people, they say we brought in a year on the North Coast.
Now, with all the EU policies and different things have changed a lot, but not for the better. We're still losing people almost every day on boat crossings. Also, the conditions that people are being kept in is horrific. It's worse, actually. The situation is worse now than it was in 2015. And also the media interest has gone completely. It's not fashionable now to talk about refugees or migrants or whatever you want to call them. Everything is focused on Donald Trump or something else.
If we don't come in Europe, we will die in Afghanistan. And we have a lots of problems. This is why we chose. We don't have any other choice. This is why we have just this choice, and we chose to come in Europe. When I was coming from Afghanistan to Iran, I lost one of my friends. His dad in front of me. He was 18 years old. There was very cold, very hot the season. We finished the water in the mountains. We don't have water, and he died. He died, and we left his body there.
And hit me. Mavia. Here, stick, platin. Here.
I was coming from Suleimania, one city named Qaladze, and after I left to Mahmour. Like from Mahmour, I stay from one of friend, my father. We stay 1 month after ISIS coming, and from Erbil. Again, we left because of the government. We come to Turkey. From Turkey, we trying to go by the small boat. And the small boat was like choose, died or lucky, like you play in your life. Of you put in the water, or you put in the water, or you put the rock. And we steal all the water. Some of them don't now swimming. Some of them stay in the water just shouting, like screaming of the children. Home and old was so horrible time I see in my life.
Aquí en Lesvos llega una barca de cada igual 4 o 5 de las que salen de Turquía. Y en general en las islas, desde Samotracia, Lesvos, Chíos hasta Rodos, yo creo que podemos estar hablando cada vez más de un incremento de barcas interceptadas tanto por los guardacostas turcos o por la policía marítima en el principio en la costa turca, luego los guardacostas turcos y luego en Frontes. Están llegando pocas barcas, pero sigue habiendo muchas personas que han huido de sus países y que siguen intentando pasar por mar a Europa. En ese tránsito entre la costa turca y la costa griega, en la zona en la que estamos vigilando la costa hay unos 18 kilómetros, no es mucho, llegan muy mal. O sea, esas horas nocturnas, y aquí ahora en invierno hace mucho frío, hay días que es de lluvia, y en esas horas llega gente que hay que desplazarla al hospital, llegan muy mal. Tanto por el agua y por el frío, las ropas que llevan, se ponen mucha ropa para pasar el frío, pero el agua empapa esas ropas y contra más ropa es más frío. Llegan con hipotermias, la verdad es que son unas situaciones muy, muy duras el recibirles en la costa. Aún así llegan felices de llegar a Grecia. Y para mí esa es una parte muy dura, porque no les puedes decir lo que hay luego, lo que está haciendo Europa con ellos, o lo que no está haciendo, mejor dicho, Europa con ellos.
The police catch us and they beat us a lot. Even they broke one of my friend's leg, and he came back in Turkey. He stayed 1 month in the hospital. Even he don't care about us. They're not asking we are a human. There is not like a humanity. They're really not human, the border police. He have to think about that. We are human. He have to do slug with like a human, but they don't do slug with human, like we are animals. And they beat us a lot like animals. He don't care if I died and my leg is broken, my hand is broken. They don't care about that. When I came here, I stayed 20 days in the street. Nobody care about me. When I go in the camp, they don't give me place, and they said, we don't have place for you, and you just have to go back. And they don't take us in the camps. And there is no place, but they have to do slog with us like humans, not like animals. And they're all the time they're doing the same thing. Like all the refugees coming in the borders, they ask, like they have lots of problems with police. When the police catch them, they beat a lot and they do a lots of bad things to them. And when they catch us, they take our mobiles. When we are going to Turkey side, they throw our mobiles in the water. Why? Why? Because of what? Because we are refugees? That's why you're doing this with us?
Where the numbers of people fleeing war are still high, the conditions that people are being kept in are horrific. You wouldn't keep animals in the conditions that they're keeping these people. So, yeah, it's worse.
Yeah, I think the governments of Europe, they're hiding what's going on here. You know, it's like Hitler did in the Second World War with the Holocaust. It was hidden. The governments knew it was there, but everyone was like this. You know, they're all, and the same situation's going on now. You know, but it's the governments of Europe causing the abuses. They're causing these abuses deliberately to stop people coming. So the worse the conditions they can have people living in, the better for the governments, because the less people come. They want people to hear they're living like animals, which is disgusting. You know, Europe's meant to be a civilized place. And plus we're 70, 80 years on from the Second World War. You know, we should be able to hold our head up and look after human beings that are leaving war zones. But the governments of today in the last 3 years have just been disgusting. You know, they just destroyed the Geneva Convention.
And since the war, the Second World War, we have human rights conventions in places that protect the rights of people fleeing war. You have to see the people that come through here every single day. We've had babies of 7 days old, and they're living in summer tents in January in a camp that I'm just waiting for an outbreak of some disease, because there's very little running water. You can smell the sewage as you go past, because this place was built and designed for 750 people. There is now 6,000 people in a camp with no accommodation, no running water. There's no schools, there's no childcare. Most of them have only the clothes that they cross the sea in.
We just got them off the boats, we got them some clothes, got them some medical attention, and then we moved them on, you know, and hopefully we had volunteers further up, like we did up through Greece, that are doing the same thing, and it went up. But then the government in April 2016 closed all the borders, and the famous EU-Turkey deal, and people are stuck. You know, we've had nearly 60,000, 70,000 stuck in Greece. Some of the boys we have helping us have been here over a year, living in tents for over a year. One of the lads this morning, he just told me 126 people he lives with in a tent. 126 people. Can you imagine the smell in there? And I know this guy's been living in there for nearly a year. I think his year comes up next week or something. This is just incredible. This is abuse on a large scale. Even in the Second World War, you got a wooden hut and a fire. You got a little heater. They don't even have that. You know, it's a bit of canvas, and if they're lucky, they have some diesel for the heater, which these days is very rarely on at all. Yeah.
Moria es un campo de concentración ahora mismo donde se está reteniendo a 7.000 personas, y esto tiene que ver con la legislación europea. Para mí es lamentable la situación. No entiendo cómo todo un continente que se está creando en común es capaz de decirle a un Estado soberano que determinadas personas no pueden moverse de aquí, de unas islas. Son cárceles abiertas, todas las islas de la costa griega que están frente a Turquía, y Moria en este sentido es el paradigma de lo que no se debe hacer con estas personas, que son sobrevivientes de sus países y de un paso como es el paso por el Mediterráneo, donde hay más de 30.000 muertos.
Ellos dicen que han salido de una prisión y han llegado a otra, y para ellos la isla es eso. Los campos están a 10 kilómetros de lo que es el pueblo de Chíos, son casi 2 horas andando para llegar al pueblo. Se quejan de la comida, tanto en este campo como en los campos en Atenas.
La situación de ellos va empeorando cada vez más, porque cada vez tienen menos salidas, porque cada vez están más deprimidos, porque cada vez tienen más enfermedades, porque cada vez tienen más enfermedades psicológicas, y porque cada vez lo están pasando peor, porque al principio venían con la alegría de que las fronteras estaban abiertas, después de que a lo mejor las abrían, después de que a lo mejor se compadecían de ellos, y al final pues nada de esto ha ido pasando, y ya casi no los vemos en los medios de comunicación, porque ya se han encargado los gobiernos en general de meterlos en campos, y que no exista un idomeni, que no exista un pireo, que eran los focos de atención que había importantes dentro de Grecia. Como ya no existen estos focos de atención y ellos están recluidos en campo, que también se trata de eso, de quitarlos de la visibilidad, pues se va hablando cada vez menos de ellos, pero su situación es peor que cuando se hablaba mucho de ellos.
They actually at one point improved the situation fractionally when they started to, after last winter where lots of people died and in the camp from freezing to death, they suddenly moved in February time, January, February, they moved thousands of people away from the camps into accommodation onto the mainland. At that point they restructured the camp so the single women are a little safer than they were before because they have one compound with a lock gate. So if you're lucky enough to get into the single women's compound, you're a little bit safer. But the family compound, I mean, not all people are good. Not all of these refugees are good people. And the family compound, the women are afraid to go to the toilet. And if you're lucky enough to be in a compound, at least you have some overwatch of the groups and the police inside. But they're sleeping in the street. They have no access to toilets, no running water. There's people sleeping in adult diapers because they're afraid to go to the bathroom. And as for the unaccompanied kids, that's illegal from the beginning. They're being detained and locked up just for the crime of being without a parent.
¿Cómo es posible que en el 2018, en un país europeo, primer mundo, haya mujeres que han salido de sus países huyendo por determinada violencia y no se atrevan a salir por la noche para ir al baño y tengan que estar en sus habitaciones con pañales para evitar violencia o violaciones? ¿Quién se cree que eso pasa en Europa en el 2018? Pues está pasando en Europa. ¿Quién se puede creer que los menores tienen que prostituirse para sacar dinero para poder llegar a Europa o para poder mandarles a sus familias que se han endeudado para que ellos lleguen a Europa y llevan 2 años retenidos aquí que no llegan a Europa? Porque, insisto, no consideran Grecia como su etapa final. Y sin embargo siguen sonriéndonos cada vez que estamos con ellos. Para mí es durísimo llegar a casa y no llorar cada noche con estas historias. Y son 65.000 historias distintas y cada una peor que la otra.
He conocido muchas mujeres que han llegado solas a la isla, que son los casos más tristes para mí, que más dolorosos que he tenido. El año pasado una mujer de la República Dominicana y otra mujer de Cuba. Pues llegaron por vías diferentes, pero las dos habían dejado a los niños con la vecina desde hacía ya un par de años. La señora dominicana voló a Turquía y la secuestró un abusador y la tuvo pues prostituyéndola durante 2 años encerrada hasta que ella consiguió saltar desde la segunda planta de la casa, llegó a la playa para coger la lancha, la violaron los mafiosos, era diabética, no se trataba con insulina. Bueno, cuando yo la encontré ahí en Moria, estaba la pobre, o sea, es que se te caían las lágrimas de verla porque esa persona había perdido su dignidad. Es todo muy complejo para las mujeres, sobre todo que las familias, como parece que hay más prioridad, ¿no? Cuando hay niños y tal. Pero tanto mujeres solas como hombres solos están bastante como vulnerables, ¿no? En ese aspecto a nivel... Ya no te cuento el tema de las violaciones, que pues en Moria, por ejemplo, no se atreven por la noche a ir al baño porque tienen miedo a ser violadas. Bueno, las duchas en Moria no las he visto, pero yo creo que nadie se ducha allí, con lo cual, claro, imagínate, ¿no? Las infecciones que tienen también, ¿no? De vejiga, de riñón, temas ginecológicos, pues no hay mucha asistencia ginecológica tampoco.
Y ahora mismo que Grecia está llena de refugiados, que los campos que ha abierto el gobierno, controlados por ejército o policía, están llenos y que en las squad hay cola para entrar, el echar a alguien que ha pasado de ser vulnerable a no ser vulnerable porque ya es mayor de edad, les estás echando en la calle. Pero hay también un montón de menores que llegan a las islas y que llegan al continente no acompañados, que ni tienen plaza en los campos, ni posibilidades de entrar a las squad porque están llenas, y que la única salida que tienen es dormir en la calle, intentar llegar a Europa como sea, y para eso se buscan la vida, lo mismo metiéndose vendiendo drogas que prostituyéndose, Bueno, es que son situaciones muy duras las de los menores.
Yo creo que estas personas están perdiendo la fe en la raza humana, ¿no? Es como decir, escapan del horror y de la guerra y buscan, ¿no?, refugio, y les tratamos así, ¿no? Los metemos en cárceles, los maltratamos. Bueno, es un genocidio realmente, ¿no?, como muy sutil, pero a fuego lento, pero es lo que está pasando, ¿no? Y no hay una conciencia porque ya está olvidado, ya no salen las noticias.
Again, it's international laws don't apply anymore. You know, you have all these international laws that were put into place over the years to make life better for war refugees and things like this, and they just don't apply. They don't apply at all now. The governments can do what they bloody like, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. Some of the abuses I've seen is unbelievable.
You know, how can you treat human beings like this? And the media give them titles like migrant and refugee and immigrant and asylum seeker. Boat people, I love that. These are people fleeing for whatever reason. Some, okay, might be economic, but the majority is war. And how can we treat human beings like this, like there is some kind of lower form of life? It astounds me. Okay, I understand that you can't give asylum to everyone, because everyone will be watching it saying, oh, they're all coming here to take our jobs. I understand you can't give asylum to everyone, but there is enough money and enough intelligence in Europe to assess these people's situation, to give them proper access to legal aid, to a proper interview where they can present their case, rather than some of these people are still waiting 2 years. Some of the Nepalese are waiting more than 2 years just for their first interview. And in the meantime, they're kept in these conditions, and by the time they pass through their interview system, they're so mentally ill, it's ridiculous. Where is the protection of the rights of these people? Everyone has the right to apply for asylum. Not everyone has the right to get asylum. But in the meantime, they deserve a lawyer. They deserve somebody qualified to hear their case. The people the European Commission have sent are aged 17, 18. They have no clue.
You have young children in their 20s, early 20s, assessing the life of people in their 40s and 50s and their families. I mean, these young children have only just come out of bloody nappies themselves, and they're going to look at an older person, 30 years older, and say how your life's going to be.
There's no empathy.
I mean, it's disgusting. It's, you know, people in these situations should be old, mature people, you know.
Qualified.
Qualified people. People with a bit of maturity behind them that's seen life. Not a kid that's just got out of college or just come out of school and it hasn't seen life at all, you know, and his hormones or her hormones are still running all over the place. They shouldn't be interviewing people in their 30s and 40s. They shouldn't be interviewing families to tell them how their life is going to exist.
Lo que vemos es a la gente cada vez más desesperada, cada vez los procesos se alargan más, cada vez tarda mucho más en darle un pasaporte. Antes eran 3 meses, una vez que ya tienen el asilo pueden tener un pasaporte griego a los que se les concede un asilo. Antes eran 3 meses, ahora están tardando 1 año en dárselo. Antes una entrevista de asilo eran 3 meses, a lo mejor ahora se va convirtiendo en 1 año y pico. Entonces, en vez de facilitar las cosas, la vida a estas personas, que al fin y al cabo no tienen culpa de nada de lo que les está pasando, no solo no se lo está facilitando, sino que cada vez se les está dificultando más todo.
We're going to inside this place to get interview, but then happened something I don't understand why. They told us, okay, you're going to, after 1 year, you must be come back 1 year to interview. This time I so sad and I so angry and I so bored. Why? Okay, 1 year I stay to wait, get asylum server, and 1 year to do the second interview, this 2 years, and also to get ID card and passport 6 months, this 2 years and 6 months. I can't waiting for 2 years, 6 months. This is so difficult. Not just me, all the people, all the refugees same like this. I don't know why the government is play with the refugee.
You know, this Christmas was unbelievable. I mean, you've been to Moria, you've seen all the cars outside Moria by the hundreds, both sides of the road, all ASO and government officials and UNHCR cars and everything else. I've got a photograph of Christmas We carried on here. We didn't stop. Yeah. Christmas, you went down there. The refugees were playing football in the road, and there was 3 cars. That's all there was there. So for 2 weeks, Moria closed. You still had 60,000 refugees inside it, but there was no one. They all went on their Christmas holidays. But basically, I mean, I can ask the guys here now, but I'm pretty sure it was a lot better atmosphere with no one being there, and they were looking after themselves. But I mean, this was just incredible. I filmed it because I just thought, this is so, it's like a Monty Python, isn't it? It is. You got all this madness going on, and cars and people and craziness and everything else. Then Christmas comes, we're all going away for 2 weeks, and they all go, and the refugees have to look after themselves, and there's no one there, and they're playing football in the road because there's no cars or nothing down there. It's just something.
And even the level of money that's gone into that camp and to the island and to Greece generally the stupidest thing is to give Greece money because it's bankrupt. So any money that comes in is going to be siphoned off to try and pay debts and everything else.
Give me 5 million. I'd change Moria in 1 month. I would change it. Just me on my own. Just give me 5 million, and I'll tell you what, the people they'd be 100 times better off. You have all these aid agencies and all these government officials getting billions, and the place just doesn't change. But why give all the money in the first place? Who's collecting the money? Because it's not going to the refugees. Because look at all this. This is by good-hearted people from all around the world. If you go to all the other warehouses, exactly the same. Aid agencies don't give me 1 bottle of water. They don't give me nothing. They don't give the other warehouses nothing. This is done by people with big hearts looking after the refugees. And we've been doing it for 3 years. The north coast of Lesvos, it was all volunteers with massive hearts, and little NGOs in 2015 looked after 600,000 people. Yeah? The aid agencies took all the money. They weren't even on the beaches. They didn't give me 1 bottle of water that year either. And the European Commission said they give in February 2016, they said they'd given 8 billion to the refugee crisis. The north of Lesvos was the front line. I asked everyone, did you get anything from the European Commission? No one did. Not even 1 small bottle of water came from the European. So where did the 8 billion go? And that's the same problem now. The money's still pouring in. But where's it going? It's not going to the refugees.
We didn't have electricity. We didn't have that electricity to make hot or anything. Just under the tent and stay, waiting. They have child. Some people, they have 5 child or 6 child. They stay waiting. If you come tonight, they will listen to all child cry because it's so cold and so draining. I am sick of heart, weakness of heart, like weakness of heart. I go to the doctor say, make it that and say, your heart is working now. It's okay for you now. I am sick, I want medicine, I want any help, They say, no, your work, it's work now, you are fine now, you don't want anything. Give me anything, no. I don't have money to buy medicine. How I can have medicine? Just wait. The life is worst here, worst.
El junio pasado que las grandes organizaciones pues recortaron casi al 50% la cantidad de personal que tenían aquí en la isla, con lo cual seguían llegando refugiados, siguen habiendo casi 6.000 refugiados solamente en Moria, entonces claro, es que por mucho que quieran no pueden porque 5 psicólogos para atender 5.000 refugiados, o sea, y así va con todo, o sea, los médicos de cabecera no dan abasto, con estrés, con agotamientos crónicos, o sea, es complicada la situación. Están desnutridos con la dieta que les dan, ¿no? Por la mañana ni una fruta, ni un bollo, no de chocolate, carbohidratos por un tubo, ¿no? Solo arroz. ¿Cómo se va a recuperar esas personas?
El verdadero problema es que todos esos refugiados que hay en el mundo derivan de unas situaciones, en la mayor parte de las ocasiones, que hemos creado desde Europa o desde Occidente, incluye Estados Unidos, Australia, Japón, ¿no? Los países industrializados. Cada vez estamos trabajando peor lo que se dice los otros. Cada vez estamos militarizando más las soluciones. Aquí en Lesbos se está denunciando últimamente también la actividad de alguna ONG que parece que les está bautizando bajo manga o de alguna forma aceptada por las personas que se bautizan porque creen que esta organización tiene mano en acelerar los procesos de asilo. Dice, ese no es el papel de una colaboración con gente que sale huyendo. Pero es que estamos viendo intervenciones que nos duelen mucho, como puede ser la de ACNUR, en la que sabemos que está cobrando millones y no vemos dónde se emplea, ¿no? Lo único que vemos es mantas y tiendas con el gran logo de ACNUR, pero sabemos que haciendo un cómputo de tanto dinero entregado tanto a personas refugiadas, se le está entregando 28 euros al día para que haga la gestión de estas personas. Vemos aquí en Moria como no hay más que tiendas de campaña, frío, y que el año pasado murieron 7 personas. Con 28 euros al día, si se las entregas directamente a esas personas, pueden vivir dignamente alquilando un piso. Sobre todo cuando son familias, porque igual una persona es muy justa, pero Grecia se puede vivir con ese dinero.
When we started helping, which was 3 years ago, about now, when we were trying to take our daughter to school and we saw refugee families on the beach, and we ended up getting involved. First of all, we were afraid like everybody else because everyone tells you it's against the law, and if you're found helping, you'll get arrested. And once we saw the children, we said, enough, we have to do something. So we've been kind of helping full time as well as working, because we're not an NGO, we don't earn money from this. But full time we've been doing this for 3 years. When we started, we honestly were naive enough to think that we can do this for a little bit and help will come, because this is Europe. Help will arrive. These people won't be left to drown on their own, to not have a rescue boat, to die of hypothermia on the beach, to die of dehydration, to have heart attacks in camps because of dehydration, to die of hypothermia in the camps. No, that can't happen because it's Europe. And 3 years on and we're still waiting for that help to come. And all we see is worse and worse treatment of refugees. And it is deliberate. It has to be, because the money has come. This is deliberate treatment of people fleeing war in the hope that they will deter other people fleeing war. And yet we're still dropping bombs on them.
You know, the price of one fighter jet, 30 million. What you could do with 30 million here. If I had 10 million, I could buy 5 hotels and I could feed people in those 5 hotels for 5 years. Just with 10 million. Yeah? Because the hotels here, they're all closed, empty. You could buy them quite easy. Yeah? For next to nothing. And you could feed people. With the extra 5 million you had, you could feed people in those 5 hotels for 5 years. You know, the UNHCR, they are part of the problem. A massive part of the problem. Something's gone very, very wrong with the UNHCR. You know, I mean, I've argued with them, I shouted at them and everything. I watch them now. They have one guy in the north. Yeah? And they like... It's a big joke about the UNHCR. You know, they do spend money. You know, I'm not saying they don't spend money. They do, on stickers, UNHCR stickers, and they stick them on everyone else's tents and everyone else's property. Look, this is the UNHCR camp, and then they take over everything. The propaganda is amazing. And the amount of money and abuse they cause is amazing too. You know, the amount of money they've taken. You watch the UNHCR driving around in their big 4x4s and their designer clothes and their designer sunglasses and everything else, and then you watch suffering people with their babies and everything else, dragging them along the streets, and the UNHCR won't even stop them and help them. You know, I said to one of the heads of the UNHCR, Carlotta Simis, I said to her, how come you employ people with black hearts? Because all the people I see, your employers have black hearts. Not one of them have a heart. Yeah? How come you do this? Because you're meant to be a humanitarian organization. You know, you're meant to be there for the protection of refugees. But your people don't care.
Hemos conocido a gente de ACNUR que tiene unos sueldazos de impresión y que da la sensación de que las personas refugiadas no les importan en tanto en cuanto personas, sino en tanto en cuanto yo me gano el sueldo y tengo un horario con el que trabajar. Y hay organizaciones que dan la sensación de que lo único que les interesa es que a ellos les den dinero y que no les interesa tanto a estas personas. Pues son personas con la misma dignidad que tú, aunque hayan nacido en un país que no es el primer mundo y que no sean blancos. Y a pesar de que la religión no sea la misma, y tendremos muchas diferencias con ellos. Pero es que cuando tú ves la diferencia como un motivo de ataque, en vez de cuando una parte de diversidad que nos enriquece a todos, tienes un problema tú. Y tú eres quien está gestionando precisamente esta crisis. Y esto lo estamos viendo aquí en Grecia, en las islas, lo estamos viendo en el continente, pero lo estamos viendo también nuestros compañeros que trabajan en Serbia, en Hungría, todos los temas de los refugiados. Están gestionándose la diferencia con estas personas como algo que hay que controlar. La diferencia es parte de la diversidad. Y esta gente no lo entiende así. Están ensuciando todo el movimiento de apoyo y de solidaridad que viene desde mucha gente a apoyar estas causas.
All my friends in Syria, I live my whole life. My city, my school, my friends, all my memories, and my father's still in Syria, so this is the big lose for me. I miss everything. I have been here 3 months ago. The place is so dirty. The food's not good, and it's tents, a lot of tents there. I lived 2 months ago in a tent. It's so bad. I can't tell you, it's maybe the same situation when I lived in Syria under the war. It's the same here. I feel the same depression, the same state. Yeah.
Con telas de lona o mantas y pues cada espacio son 10 chicos, más o menos, entre 10 y 6. Duermen en cajas de madera. Ellos dicen que duermen en ataúdes, porque realmente son ataúdes. Intentan cubrirse cerrar el espacio que queda abierto entre una caja y otra, son como literas, por cartones, porque cuando se descuidan aparece una rata del tamaño de mi mano o más, y les muerden. Otras de las condiciones de la situación del vial es que la parte de fuera, la gente vive en tiendas de verano, o sea, no están condicionadas. Estamos en enero, las tiendas no tienen no están hechas de tela resistentes al frío o al calor, entonces pierde todo el calor de dentro, no tienen electricidad dentro de la tienda, como mucho pueden intentar encender una hoguera, pero no pueden estar toda la noche enfrente de una hoguera. Ahora hay tormenta, hace frío, allí se está a 5 grados o menos. Hay niños, las mantas ni los sacos de dormir son suficientes para que entren en calor estos niños. No sabemos los casos de vulnerabilidad en los que creen que una familia tiene que estar dentro en un container o en la tienda. O sea, estos casos de vulnerabilidad no sabemos cómo están medidos, ¿no? Porque yo he visto a hombres mayores en esta tienda de 100 personas, o niños, bebés, en una tienda en la que, en una tormenta se inunda, se rompe, entra agua por todas partes, se moja todo, el agua es fría, la gente no se puede duchar, entonces es una situación muy insostenible la del campo.
So you know that when they go to areas of Africa and camps in the middle of nowhere and things, they get hardship benefits, so they get an extra payment for living in these camps. The international staff are getting hardship benefit for working in Greece. They're living in 5-star hotels and have a budget for food, and they're still being paid on top. What drives me crazy is their only role is supposed to be protection of rights of refugees. Where is the protection of these people's rights? They're actually complicit with working with the police. We see it with arrivals all the time, that suddenly now refugees arriving on the beaches are criminalised.
They're questioned by the UNHCR. They're questioned. Who drove the boat? Where's the smuggler? Well, you got the volunteers up there. We were up there looking after a pregnant woman one day and everything else, and the UNHCR is running around trying to find the smuggler. And I said to him, look, it's common sense, there was no smuggler on this boat. And he said, how do you know that? I said, because the fucking boat's there. If a smuggler came with the boat, he'd take it back. You know, he's not going to leave it on the beach, is he?
Handcuffing
use
of
your common
refugees,
sense. You know, it's
counting to give numbers to the police. All of this
Getting the names off of refugees.
is not the work of the UNHCR. Who is protecting the rights of refugees? Who is here for these people? No one. No one. They have no rights. The pressure needs to go on the people who are making these decisions. They're doing it in your name. These decisions are made in your name because the people of Europe do not want refugees. That needs to change. We need to speak with one voice and stop this from happening, because this is happening in your name. So unless you speak out, unless you make enough noise and pressure those in power that are making these decisions, nothing will change.
No entendía cómo gobiernos europeos no puedan hacer nada, porque si los voluntarios y activistas una vez que llegan sobre terreno son capaces de hacer, obviamente los gobiernos sí pueden hacer y no les interesa y están todo el rato intentando crear y aplicar medidas de externalización y políticas de externalización para alejar el problema de sus fronteras y que no les llegue.
Not the people of Europe that don't want refugees, you know? You give me 1,000 refugees, and if I went to Barcelona or someone like that and said, if the government allowed me to, if the Spanish government allowed me to, and I went there and I just shouted all around the newspapers, I have 1,000 refugees that need a home, I guarantee everyone in Barcelona would give them a home and they would feed them and they would look after them. Everyone would want refugees. It's the governments and the politicians and the fascists that are running Europe at the moment. They don't want refugees. They're the ones that are causing the problem, and we, like idiots, put them in power. Yeah? But no matter where you go, there's so many people with big hearts. They're there. But it's the governments and the media that's hiding this fascism as something else, you know? This will go down in history, what's happened in the last 3 years. This will go down in world history if the governments try and destroy everything to hide it. Yeah? And the people responsible for it should be in court. They should be in The Hague or somewhere like that. Like after the Second World War, you had the Nuremberg trials. I hope when this is over with, we have bloody trials for these bloody fascists that have caused this damage and caused it murder. The amount of people that have been murdered out here in the name of Europe is disgusting. It's just this one group of little fascists with the money, the bankers, the politicians, and that rule. You know, and this is what we have to stop with in Europe. Well, not just Europe, but all around the world.
And now we live in paradise behind locked gates, cameras and spotlights, because we're just always waiting for someone to turn up. Yeah.
So, but it's, you know, this is the life we took. We decided we were going to help people. A lot of people call us anarchists. We're not anarchists. We're human beings helping human beings. That's all we are. You know, and a lot of people say, you know, how do you do it? But I know if anyone, even you, anyone was in the same situation like us, they would have done the same. You know, it comes in on our beach, right in front of our house. You've got suffering children. You just can't go and get your bread in the morning and just leave them. You have to help, you know. And this is what human beings are about, isn't it? Helping each other, being a human being. I have friends in Turkey, and I talk to friends in Turkey. And he is unstable. Anything can happen over there. And if he decides to give Europe 2 million refugees, he will give Europe 2 million refugees. And that's going to unstabilize the whole bloody world. You know, and he could do that tomorrow. He could do it next week. I don't know. You know, he holds the cards. You know, the refugees have become a great big political tool now. It's a big game amongst the politicians. And they're using suffering people as this game. Look at me. I have 5 million suffering refugees. You want them? I can let you have them. Unless you fill my bank accounts up. You know. So it is a bloody great game. It's just disgusting. The future's not looking good. It's not looking good. Because of the fascists. You know, it's these fascists, these politician fascists, and that they've put all this into power in the last few years. If you went back 5 years ago, just go back in time 5 years, if one child went missing anywhere in Europe, every airport, bus station, train station would have a poster of that one child. Yeah? The beginning of 2017, they say 20,000 children have gone missing within Europe. 20,000 children being sexually abused, having their organs taken out and everything else. And the governments of Europe do nothing. They've given the green light to paedophiles. They've given the green light to this fucking mafia. Yeah? And guaranteed a lot of these bloody politicians are involved in it somehow, because I don't see what their motives are, unless they want to fill their own bank accounts up.
Tenemos muchísimos niños discapacitados que vienen aquí a pasar el día. Tenemos muchas familias rotas, en las que el padre está en un sitio, la madre está en otro sitio, los niños están en otro sitio, y todas las familias, a lo mejor conocemos familias incluso de 5 miembros que cada uno está en un sitio. Eso para mí es una situación de las más duras, que no saben si van a volverse a ver en la vida, ni cuándo, ni cómo, ni si mágicamente un día sucederá que se encuentren. Si a los gobiernos les da la gana de ser un poco compasivos con ellos. Ya no digo que se cumplan las leyes, que no se están cumpliendo, sino que por lo menos seamos un poco compasivos y, como ha dicho antes un refugiado, todos nos demos cuenta de que podemos estar en esa situación.
Los menores son un grupo cada vez más numeroso y cada vez peor tratado o no tratado por las grandes organizaciones. ¿Cómo pueden 2 menores llegar a una isla que se supone que todas las llegadas están controladas y acaban en campos, y a los 3 días no estar? ¿Quién está detrás? ¿Qué compinches hay entre administraciones o no los hay? ¿Cómo trabajan las mafias? ¿Cómo les sacan y a dónde van? A tráfico de órganos, a prostitución en Europa, venta de menores. Hay todo un... Es que es muy sucio estos temas.
There is a lot of good people out there. We need to change the governments. We need to change these fascists. We need to kick these bloody fascists out of this situation. You know, it happened in 1940, 1939, 1940, and it's there. You know, and I think this is where we've gone wrong. Show what really happened. Show the truth of what happened. Yeah, and show the kids. Educate the children. When you have children of 17, 18 now saying the Holocaust never happened, this is a fault on our part. It's a fault on the generations that have gone past. We have not taught our kids what really gone on. You know, the truth. Yeah, and we shouldn't lose that. You know, we need to educate people more. We need a lot more stars to stand up, a lot more pop stars to stand up, a lot more footballers to stand up, a lot more people in the media to stand up and start helping the refugees and start changing the world. And let's get it back the way it was. If not, get it back the way it was, make it better.
Yo creo que se puede trabajar extendiendo el cuerpo de protección civil en todos los estados en vez de buscar una solución militar. No es lo mismo mandar una patrullera militar a que patrulle las costas a mandar protección civil. No es lo mismo trabajar con salvamento marítimo como organismo civil que trabaja el salvamento en el mar que mandar patrulleras de la OTAN a vigilar las costas. Es buscar una solución civil, es acabar con las soluciones militares en todas estas cosas. Ellos no son unos delincuentes y se les trata como tal, son unos supervivientes incluso de naufragios. Entonces hay un montón de factores los que hay que atajar, pero el principal es que nuestros gobiernos por lo menos cumplan la legislación vigente, que ni siquiera lo hacen. Esa es la primera parte que hay que conseguir, y eso tiene mucho que ver con a quién votamos y con la responsabilidad nuestra también como ciudadanos de cada país de Europa con el voto que hacemos.
All time we just said about the conditions in the camps and nothing changed. Maybe it's better to say how we can change. We can ask the people to live inside and we can try to find solutions how to change the conditions in the camps. We have to see all the people like us, like a big family, and solution coming without thoughts.
I like help people. I work in here, volunteer with Nikos. And when I go in UK, I want to come back help refugees. Because I like, in Iraq I help refugees in Iraq. I want just safe life, beautiful life, just this, because in Iraq no freedom.
Creo que es muy importante seguir creando conciencia de lo que está pasando, porque ya en televisión no se habla, ¿no?, de la deshumanización, de la falta de apoyos, de medios, para sobre todo los voluntarios independientes y las pequeñas organizaciones que estamos aquí involucrados y que bueno, necesitamos apoyos para poder seguir ayudando, ¿no? para poder seguir creando esperanza dentro del caos y de la complejidad de la situación, ¿no?, en la que están los refugiados. Y eso, crear empatía, compasión, y que los cambios se pueden hacer, pero realmente se tienen que sentir desde el corazón, y la única manera es actuando. Es momento de actuar y no pensar pobre gente, pues, sino realmente involucrarse, y si no puedes venir a Lesbos, pero ayuda a otros que están aquí para que puedan seguir ayudando, ¿no?